All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So this is a viewer request video and really in a lot of ways a recent runner for some of these, but we're going to look at TTOO, NKLA, and then NGL. You know, TTOO, I'm really surprised Friday did what it did, and I'm very surprised that it didn't go all the way up here, in all honesty. So I'll definitely talk a little bit about what happened there. But yeah, very surprised to see what this daily looks like. Again, is really all I can say as I'm like looking at it, you know. NKLA, look, I rarely do this, okay, but I am gonna do this really quickly. NKLA, I covered on the 13th. Super hard to read, but you can see it says juicy setup. You know, if I have time, I'll look at EVGO because I actually thought EVGO was a juicy setup as well that same day and didn't quite do it. But NKLA from the 13th to the next couple days just crushed it, right? So I'm going to go over that and what I think is coming up. And then NGL, I will be honest, this is a new ticker to me. I'd never heard of it. The weekly is what I'm really going to stress on NGL. The daily looks good, and don't worry, like I'll talk about the daily a little bit, but the weekly chart is really what caught my eye especially. So I'm excited to go over these three. Again, TTOO though, just it's surprising me as I look at it because I know I'm about to talk to it. So sorry about that. But real quick, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how this thing is setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. I didn't draw any horizontal lines because really it was all about the moving averages. But again, I'll go over that shortly. And then once we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to the channel, share this thing on the internet, comment good or bad. Look, I'm not here to disagree with you. I'm happy to have a discussion, right? Like the video. Anything you can do really does help with the YouTube algorithms, but for real, I very much appreciate your time, okay? So look, let's get into it. And again, I'm so surprised because look, first off, let me just back it up a little bit. This 8 moving average has sucked for a while. All right, this 8MA in green right here. Once you're above the line, man, it's been a while since this thing's actually been above the line. Dang. I guess this is our only one, but look, when you're above the green moving average, the 8, it's a good thing, all right? When you're under it, man, all you can do is go horizontal at best, right? Otherwise, you're just kind of going down, 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 down. And Thursday, so Wednesday actually closes over it, okay? You can see the 8 average is at 7. We clearly close at 8. You know, that's good, right? I need a confirmation day the next day, and honestly, that's not a bad confirmation. I wish the candles were a little bigger, but just kind of looking at this thing, you know, if I made the video on this day, on the 15th, I definitely would have said, hey, get ready to go up here, right? Like, it looks like we've broken the 8. It looks like we've confirmed it. We actually got over this little plateau right here. Nothing but red, 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 red. Like, there was very little for this to stop the run up here. And more than anything, what I'm very surprised of, we never even retested the high, right? Thursday, the high was obviously, sorry, the close, right? The 9 cent close right here. This thing never even really gets as high as this on the wick, right? So, that surprised me a lot. Volume drops almost 50%, right? We were above 100. All of a sudden, we're below 50. Like, that's weird. And again, I'm so surprised that we break, we confirm, we don't do better. I will say, sorry to zoom in and out so much. Look, we at least held 50% candle. I think it's fair to say like that's about halfway. We're clearly still above halfway. We're obviously still above the 8. I still gotta believe that this thing's gonna want to come here. RSI looks surprisingly weak. MACD still looks good. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm saying it again. I think Friday should have come here. I still think Tuesday's gonna want to come here. I wonder if we're gonna come as low as 8, kiss the 8, come down to 8 cents. Kiss the 8 moving average one more time before we do a bounce. Because look, end of the day, we've struggled with this 8 line for quite a while. All right. Really, the last time we did well on it was early in the year. You can kind of call this relatively insignificant. And I mean, it goes all the way back to, my goodness, right? Like this stock has struggled with the 8 for a while. It really, really has. And I get that these moving averages are at really high numbers, right? Like this one's at 26 cents, and you know, there's some like big multipliers if it happens. And again, this red makes it so juicy to want to believe that this thing's going to come to 30. But I think this has me, and I think you can hear it in my voice. I'm so surprised by this that I'm not sure what to anticipate, and I feel like it might just kind of keep doing this all-time lows, lose the 8 moving average thing. But yeah, if this can get into the 10-11 cent range, that'll be interesting, because again, theoretically, there's not a lot of resistance all the way up to basically a quarter, right? So TTOO is close, but again, I would have said it was ready here. I guess I would say let's at least break the 20, because again, if I'm saying that the 8's so hard, let's at least get over the 20 to make us believe that we'll go up, right? So I think that's the best thing to end this with, is we got to get over the 20 moving average, because I think just trying to get over the 8 isn't really enough on this stock. So not a great weekly. Again, a lot of reason to believe we might do a recovery swing all the way up to this like 19 cent, right? Like maybe come back. Because again, I say it often, you go really far from the 8, you end up coming back to the 8. You go really far from the 8, you actually come back to the 8. But then you even kind of like that before you, like, I don't know if we're just going to kind of keep going horizontal, if we're going to kind of make a move, but get over the 20 moving average. I think that's the moral of the story here on TTOO, okay? NKLA. All right, listen, I made the video on the 13th right here, all right? The 13th itself was a really big day, all right? That said, I literally threw a 150 target. I'm not a big fan of telling you guys how I do my money, right? But yeah, took this from 80 cents, sold it out 150, called it a day. I was super happy. Was I sad to see the thing run up to the 180s? No, not at all. All right, because again, I went from 80 to $1.50, right? Like, I'm not here to be greedy. I'm not here to cry about 30 cents, not selling it up here, right? As we sit at a $1.19 right now, you think I'm sad that I sold it at $1.50 that I originally wanted to? No, not at all, right? So set a plan, hit the plan, call it a day. Don't let greed mess it up, right? So just consider that for sure right there, okay? But again, one more time, NKLA on the 13th, juicy setup. If you watch the video, you can see why I thought it was, right? Like, go back to it, right? It's not going to hurt you to do it. It won't even take that long. But what are we looking at right now? Look, the 100 moving average. Look at that blue line, right? All the way back to at least, let's just call it basically a year ago, right? August was the only time we really broke it. Fell down really quickly and basically never touched again till these last moments. Like, that's an insignificant wick. That means nothing, right? Like, we actually do open over it, but obviously lose it, right? So this was an interesting one. But again, as I zoom out, you can see basically since September of 2020, excuse me, damn, that's rough. This blue line has really been a pain, to say the least. So you can't underestimate the difficulty of it. That's basically why I set my thing at 150, right? Like, I didn't think we were going to break the line. I thought we were going to get really close to it, maybe even wick a little bit higher. We actually wicked a lot higher than I expected, but hey, whatever, call it a day, right? So, and I actually did not FOMO when this thing opened at 170. Again, I hit my 150 and I was gone. The cool thing was, I'll show this too, again, I really am, but a couple days after NKLA, we talked ride. Ride was ready on the 15th, right? What day was this? Was on the 15th, right? So I was able to pocket that $1.50, move it over to ride, and basically ride this. And look, on my mom, I sold at 640. My problem was, I wish I sold more than a third of it. I got a little greedy and I held on to 2/3 instead of selling 2/3 and only holding on to a third. That I will be honest with, but that was very cool to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, again, set a plan, execute it, right? So what am I seeing now? Look, the one thing I don't like is how badly we failed this 100, all right? Now, it was a long weekend, so I don't know if it was just a matter of long weekend being long weekend, everybody sold and hey, we'll recover, right? But man, we gave up way too much a Thursday. Thursday's full candle is all the way gone, right? And this green, 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 green could be a real quick red, 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 red. So I don't know if we're going to come all the way down to 91 cents, right? That's a very, very realistic thing because this is pretty insignificant in my book. I'm just kind of zooming out to see if there's nothing. That's in between a red, red, red of its own. Man, it seems like this might come down to 92 cents. Really, it could come even lower to all the way to 84. I don't think we'll come to 75. I think the 50 should be the lowest this goes. But 91 would not. What did this do after hours? Kept going down. Yeah, I think this is coming. Again, I don't care too much about after hours, but I think that is kind of signaling 90 cents on NKLA. Be careful here a little bit, but I'll be honest. If NASDAQ can keep ripping, this thing might keep ripping. So I'll be keeping an eye on it, but I do think this bad boy is going to take a cool. So NGL. Okay, this is a really interesting chart. So again, this is new to me. So one of the things I want to do is just zoom out and look at it. All right. So there's a lot to like here. There's a lot happening basically right here. We can even call it here because it's the bottom of this, the peak of this, and some noise here. All right. We definitely lose all the moving averages and die and die and die until we started making this monster rip. And at this point right here, we break over all 5 moving averages. And I say it all the time, break over all 5 and fly, lose all 5 and die, right? And clearly this thing started a rip, right? So most of the time I would, and look, let's be honest about what we're looking at. This thing goes from $1.50 all the way to, let's call it 4. That is 100% and then an extra 33, right? Because you flip the 150 to 3, so you've doubled up, and then you add another 33 on that to take you to 4, right? So I'm not going to pretend I'm that good at math to add those two. I think it's more than 133% because I think that's, you don't just add the two, right? There's some compounding that happens there, right? Because you've made that 100 and then you've made an extra 30 there. Again, I don't know, maybe it is just 130 and I'm being dumb, but most of the time I would see this and say to myself, you know what, I've missed this, let's move on. I didn't, and I actually got really excited talking to a couple people on Twitter, and this is what I see. Look, most of my videos I focus on the daily, all right? Because for me, I'll buy something assuming I'm probably gonna let it go in a couple days, right? I'm always a little like excited when I hold it for days on end, let alone weeks on end, right? This stock right now is essentially signaling I might have a bunch of really good weeks coming, okay? Because again, look what happens, all right? It breaks the cluster the same way that we see it do the other one. It like mad. I love this 8 moving average, right? You use it to bounce, you use it to bounce, you use it to bounce, you go. This broke the 200 last week, all right? This thing closes, you can see at 386 on the top. The 200 was 384. Only was 2 cents, but it broke it by 2 cents. That's a nice confirmation. Look, I wish it was a bigger candle, but that's a good confirmation in my book. We definitely close higher up here than down here, and I wouldn't call this a silly doji by any means. You know what I mean? I like this MACD. It's in the positive. I'm liking the RSI. It's low enough. I'm loving the volume. We're actually still just doing this nice little healthy increase, right? As much as it looks like that goes down to down, that's a nice increase over the 3 weeks, right? So, man, this thing actually might be signaling, like I said, if you can, look, same thing, if you can break all the moving averages, you should fly for days on days on days, right? That's what happens on the daily. If you can break all the moving averages, you should fly for weeks on weeks on weeks, right? And let's be honest, let's look at what we're looking at here, all right? I'm going to draw a line right there. Then you basically have this silly gap, right? Like, do I want to just draw the line right there? No. I'm going to keep it right here. I am. I think it's a decent horizontal. I think it's worth having it right there. From there, I would draw this. And again, I think I'll refine these a little bit on the daily. But I think these are the weekly lines right here. Again, look, don't have $9 dreams. We're still at 4. Going from 418 to, let's even say the second line, to almost 6. That's almost a 50% jump, right? You've only got 2 sets of $2 in 4, and we're about to add 2 more and take it to 6, right? So, and look, this is a weekly chart, so I'm not necessarily saying that this is going to happen overnight, but yeah, this could be a real nice couple weeks of slow and steady go, go, go. And again, that looks nice, that looks nice, that looks nice. I mean, I am liking a lot of what I'm seeing. Let me just zoom out here and kind of see. All right, let me back it up. I'm going to get a little detailed here because again, I said there were a lot of people that all right, what am I seeing here? Okay, cool. So, interesting. Okay, so there's no, I guess it would be this. Oh man, we're already well over that. That's 350. We're sitting at 418. Okay, I don't care about that. What's your 50%? 4. We're still over that. Damn. And yeah, we're taking the top of those on that $5 line. Oh man, I like these. I'm actually not going to change the weekly lines very much. It's arguable that I can lower this a little bit. I think I can maybe lower that to like basically there, give or take. But man, I like this. I'm going to keep this. I'll be honest. I think, oops, I zoomed in. I'm not trying to zoom in. I'm trying to go back to today. We've also topped that, haven't we? Yeah, for sure. And look at that. When we break that line, it gaps up a little bit too, for sure, for sure. Look, normally an 81 is a high RSI, all right? And that generally signals a cool off. Just really quickly, I can see that's an 88, that's an 89. Okay, so I went a little too fast, but look, for just days on days, 88, 89, 89, 89, it knows how to live here. What were you? You look like you were 87 not that long ago. I think it could still go up a little more. And again, all I would expect it to do is what it's doing, right? Bounce on the 8, maybe slip to the 20, bounce on the 8, bounce on the 8, bounce on the 8, bounce on the 8, worst case. I would really not expect this thing to go any lower than 390 because again, this is going to keep going up, right? On Tuesday, I'm not pretending to know the math that does this, right? But on Tuesday, that thing's probably going to go right here, and then I would basically say, yeah, I don't think it's going to go any lower than 395, right? But this thing's using the 8 really well. The 20's coming up with it, and again, one more time, what I'm actually really, really loving is this is signaling weeks of strength here. So spent a little longer on this video than expected, but yeah, I enjoyed making this one to say the least. So hey, appreciate your time. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, thank you.